Hey there, fellow landlords. James Furlow here with the Professional DIY Landlord, the place where landlords learn to maximize their long-term cash flow and minimize headaches by doing it themselves. All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about the pre-screening questions that are used with the S.O.L.I.D screening method. And again, you want to be systematic, objective, lawful, interested, and discerning. So when it comes to phone questions, you'll specifically want to focus on being interested in what people have to say. Trust me, you will learn all sorts of nuggets of information. Okay, so here's what I do. When I have an ad and am expecting calls, I print off a bunch of these pages right here. And then I carry a Padfolio and pen with me everywhere I go. And yes, I did just say Padfolio. Anyways, I love these questions and have compiled them from all sorts of places, and I think they do a really good job of pulling out a ton of information while not taking up too much time. I've only had a couple people who say, "Oh, geez, are you still going with questions?" No, I'm done. That's fine with me. I don't want to rent to them. So, right now, below this video, there is a link, and you can click that, and that'll actually let you download this particular form as a Word document, and you can edit it for your own use. So if for some reason you don't like my order or the wording of the question, you can change it. All right, here we go. The first thing that I like to ask is how many people will be living in the unit and about pets. I find that it's just a nice warm-up question that's super easy for people to answer and get them in the mode of like, okay, he's asking me questions. For me, the next question I ask is smoking. Now, I put it at the top because, well, simply we don't rent to smokers. And so if they smoke, there's no need for me to really keep going. So I want to get that out of the way as soon as possible. If you're going to do something like allow smoking outside, then you could potentially move this one lower because it's not as critical. But one of the things you'll notice is that in 3 questions, I've been able to screen on 3 of my 8 criteria. Then what I like to do is talk about the income, because it's just another black and white issue. And if you can keep it conversational, that's awesome, to transition between questions. But don't worry, or don't even be afraid to just say, okay, next question, and then ask it, because trust me, you will get better over time. I promise. For the credit history one, I'm trying to get a feeling for how they think their credit is. Now, I'll eventually pull their credit report and see everything myself, but what do they think? How do they perceive themselves? And I do the same thing for the criminal history. Now, the housing needs question, that's kind of fun, especially the part where you ask about their cleaning habits. This sets expectation right up front that you expect them to keep the unit clean. So one of those just subtle clues that I'm already training them even in the pre-screening questions. I used to ask the how long do you plan to stay during the walkthrough, but I hated it when I met someone who seemed perfect to only find out that they needed the place for about 3 months, and that was it. So now I ask it right away. And what you'll find is that you'll have little things like that as well over time, where something weird happens or you get tired of hearing some answer, and so you throw it into the pre-screening worksheet that you have just to get out of the way. For me, that one's a small pet peeve, or not really a pet peeve, but that's one that we're looking for longer-term tenants, and so that's one that I want to know about right away. Very similar to the smoking one. And then what I do is I finish it up with the rental history. Now, I'll admit that it's pretty rare to make it this far in a call and actually hear something bad, which I guess is a good thing, though I have had a few times where they simply don't tell the truth. Like there was one prospective tenant that said his dog was great, but his former landlord reported giving multiple notices and having to replace the carpets because of pet damage. Oops. So that's actually 2 ticks against them. Number 1, it's a tick against the rental history piece, and it's also a tick against giving false information. So then finally, what I do is I open it up to them and just let them ask any questions. It's rare that they have a ton of questions, but sometimes they'll have one. And so that's about it. And the conversations are pretty quick. It's like 15 minutes at the most. A lot of them are more in like that 10-minute range. So, it's not terribly bad. Trust me, it's a lot better than driving over to the property and doing a walkthrough to find out that they're not a fit. So go ahead and download this document from the link below and modify it to suit your needs, and then just print off a bunch and start filling out when you get the phone calls. Thanks for watching, and happy screening.